Hi everyone, welcome to the December edition of Wavelength. Well, we're into the fourth year of a 15-year, $50 million program designed to upgrade and modernize LCRA's 6 Highland Lakes dams. A tremendous amount of work has already taken place, mostly at Wirtz Dam near Marble Falls. One major goal of this process is to ensure that each dam could withstand what scientists call the probable maximum flood. That's the worst flood that could happen at a particular location. The first priority was strengthening the earthen portion of Wirtz Dam, which was vulnerable if floodwaters washed over it. The solution was to dig down to bedrock and then cover this section with concrete to prevent erosion. It took 10 months and 175,000 cubic yards of cement to do the job. During flooding back in June of 1997, all 10 floodgates at Wirtz Dam were open at the same time, an historic first. That's over 300,000 cubic feet of water flowing through the dam each second. You may recall that following this flood event, a large hole in the granite below Wirtz was discovered. Since this hole posed a potential threat to the stability of the dam, it became priority one. The fix included filling the hole with concrete, then pouring a 5-foot thick slab below the floodgates and stitching it all together with steel anchors. The latest milestone in the dam modernization process was the addition of 7 new floodgate hoists at Wirtz. These new hoists, which raise and lower the floodgates with electric motors, will make a tremendous improvement in the response time during flood operations.
It takes probably, depending on conditions, anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes to lift one gate, disconnect from it, and hook up to another one. What we'll have after we get through this, we'll have a floodgate hoist over each of the floodgates, and then we'll be able to essentially move all 10 floodgates at the same time.
This 225-ton crane was brought in specifically to lift the 45,000-pound hoist into position on top of the dam.
Once we get them in place, then our electricians will come in, hook up the wiring. Once that's complete, then we'll go ahead and set the limit switches so it would have the upper and lower limit switches set. That all takes probably about 2 hours from the time we get it up on the crane till we get it finished, till they're basically ready for operations.
What we learned up in Utah was that if we operate gate 1 first, then gate 2 to essentially fill up the channel downstream, then we would open 6 through 10 almost simultaneously, a little bit at a time, and we'd get a whole lot better flow condition downstream. What that does for us is reduces the erosion below the dam and also, again, gives us a lot better flow control.
The final and possibly most important project at Wirtz Dam involves anchoring the gravity section of the dam to the bedrock below. This process ensures that the dam will not move if it is ever overtopped by floodwaters. A total of 80 anchor holes, 9 inches in diameter, will be drilled at Wirtz. The process will take about 9 months to complete. Meanwhile, at Inks and Buchanan dams, core samples are being drilled through the dams down into the bedrock to analyze just what is going on inside and below the dams.
Haven't found anything unusual. We've been real pleased with the quality of concrete. There haven't been any breaks or seams, and it just shows that when they built this thing, they did a good job.
The concern is if we had a maximum flood situation, the force, the load put onto the dam could move the upper sections. So we want to really understand what we've got here, and these core samples will tell us exactly what we've got, what we need to do, and how we want to design to hold this for another 100, 150 years.
We get this over here.
For geologist Jim Christie, analyzing these core samples is like looking back in time a billion years.
We wet it down one thing to bring out the primary color. Please note the color of this rock versus the color of this. You can't tell a thing about its inherent characteristics. Now, for instance, over here, by wetting it down, I see from here to here, we have a rock called pegmatite. It's an intrusive type rock into the gneiss. Also, here is a pegmatite vein dipping about 60 degrees. Here's another pegmatite vein. Now, if you'll know when this dries out, you won't even be able to see those. So just a simple little trick.
These samples will help to determine what kind of anchoring will have to be done at Inks and Buchanan. Similar tests will be done in the near future at Tom Miller Dam in Austin.
It can be a firefighter's worst nightmare, a boat or marina fire that just can't be fought with conventional equipment. But now there is a new firefighting tool on Lake Travis. The Hudson Bend Fire Department has a new fire rescue boat stationed at Yacht Harbor Marina. The boat is equipped with a 300 horsepower pump, which can feed the deck gun and additional lines, or it can be used to supply lake water to land-based fire trucks near the shoreline.
So it's very versatile as far as the fire aspect. With the EMS aspect, we can also carry our dive gear that we have with our divers to assist like Travis County's dive team or LCRA, and we can also transport a patient with it, which we've done already, electrocution that we had here some months back. And that way we can provide additional service with Travis County Sheriff's Office, the LCRA Rangers, and Travis County Parks. We all try and work together as much as we can and assist each other.
Lake Travis has 40 marinas, 1,300 private boat docks, and 400,000 annual visitors, so the need for this fire and rescue boat is long overdue. A $9,000 grant from the Pedernales Electric Co-op and the LCRA helped purchase this new boat.
The importance on this grant project is that it just really reflects and shows LCRA one of its high priorities, and that's public safety and public safety on the lakes. And so I think this one just shows a perfect example of what the grant programs are about and what LCRA is all about, and that's public safety and saving the lives and the property of people on the lake and people everywhere throughout our service area.
Volunteer firefighters that work at Yacht Harbor Marina can respond with the boat quickly to any emergency on Lake Travis.
How you folks doing? I'm down here at the Smithville Railcar Facility. We're putting in a little overtime today. We're working on a set of stop laws for the Works Dam, kind of a early Christmas present for Waterco. Speaking of Christmas, for me and all the folks here at the Smithville Railcar Facility, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I also want to give you a few pointers when it comes to shopping for that significant other. Now, I'd have to say that small appliances are out. I bought my wife a microwave oven one Christmas. First thing she wanted to do was take a lesson and learn how to slow cook in it. I said, well, hon, if I'd have known that, I'd have bought you a crock pot. Now, some folks, they like to buy their wife flowers. Now, you'll never catch me buying my wife flowers because I know she prefers jewelry. Now, when it comes to clothes, I never know what size to buy her, so let me give you a little pointer. Just buy a petite, save those receipts. Well, this is old Supreme Commander saying that, you know, I used to feel sorry for myself because I had no shoes till I saw a man that had no feet. So I just took his shoes. Heck, he wasn't going to need them. We'll catch you next time.
Colors were presented by the University of Texas Army ROTC Color Guard as the LCRA held its second annual Veterans Day ceremony on November 11th.
It is indeed a high honor and pleasure for me to be invited to come talk to you on Armistice Day, the 80th anniversary of the end of World War I.
Colonel Finley Brewster, former Chief of Staff of the 90th Army Reserve Command, made a special presentation about the 50th anniversary of the D-Day invasion of France in World War II. Next, a true American hero made a special appearance at the ceremony. Colonel Hank Potter, U.S. Air Force retired, took part in one of the most daring air raids of World War II. The mission to bomb the Japanese mainland, known today as the Doolittle Raid, named for Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, who planned and led the mission.
Militarily, it did not do a great deal of damage. We had 16 airplanes with 2,000 pounds of bombs, and so when you compare it to what the B-29s did later on, was very little military damage. But did build the morale of America and the Allies, and it also changed the course of the Japanese war effort. Historians tell us that because of that mission, the Japanese military held forces back in Japan that they could have better used in the South Pacific.
Colonel Hank Potter served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. He retired from active duty in the 1970s. We sat down recently with LCRA employees from all around the company and asked them to talk about their time in the military.
Well, I grew up in the Army. I was a college graduate when I went into the Army, but a college graduate who'd never been anyplace and never knew anybody for the most part except fellow students. And I had the opportunity of meeting people and working with people from all over the country. And I grew up, and the discipline there was significant for me. I was so impressed that when I came out after 3 years, I was in favor of universal military training. I thought it was something that every young man in this country needed. I mean, just the experience and maturing, and well, for me, even just being away from home was a great experience.
Being in the service, it teaches you teamwork, how to get along with other people, just makes you appreciate life.
I always thought life was going to be so simple, but when I went into the service, it made me understand that life wasn't going to be that easy, and it made me be a man.
In working, in being with the U.S. Army, I think it has made me more mature, and also working with the people here kind of brings back memories as you work together as a team. You got more cooperation. The service makes you grow up. You learn patriotism, you learn respect of the flag, and I think freedom, for one part, is probably the most cherished thing that you can have in the United States, and most people don't know what freedom really is.
You learn a lot in the service. You learn to meet people, and it just teaches you, and everybody should go into service for a few years to really learn what the world's about and what, you know, that other people, nationalities of different parts of the country, how they live. Because people back here in the United States, they don't know how good they have it here until they go over there.
The time I spent in the military really helped me. I think you get the camaraderie of the people, and the little hardships and everything you have to endure. It makes you work together more with people to get a job done as best you can when you can, and just overall made me a better person.
Another big deal was being in a situation where I had to work with people from completely different backgrounds from mine, completely different cultures, different languages, and somehow communicate well enough to make things work between the crew members as well as with the parts that we had. And that's something that was very valuable.
Teamwork is the thing that I was most impressed with, because everybody was trying to achieve the same goals, and once we did accomplish that goal, that everything was just fine. And that relates to LCRA. Here we try to strive and be a team and accomplish the same things in the various departments.
I think the service has taught me discipline, respect to others, teamwork, and most of all, that I live in America.
I guess the biggest thing that while I was in the Navy, it brought me closer to a situation to where you start realizing how important every member of the team that you're working with is, and you become real familiar with how much responsibility and how everybody depends on you, and how much your part actually counts. No matter how insignificant you really might think you are, but when you look at the whole of what you are as a team aboard ship, it becomes one big family.
We worked on airplanes. We had to make sure they were absolutely right, because there was other people's lives dependent on it. And I think it's helped me throughout life.
I think the military helped me learn respect for other people, which when you have respect for other people respect you. And I think that when you have people have respect for each other, it's helps you work together better. And I think that's helped me out a lot with LCRA.
My years in the service taught me that you couldn't just walk away from a job whenever you wanted to. It taught me discipline, and I recommend that everybody ought to go in the service at least for 2 or 3 years to get some discipline and to learn that there's a job out there you've got to do and you need to do it. And I think it's made a better person out of me, to be honest with you.
I think some of the greatest experiences were learning to know people in a foreign country that I correspond with today. I've gone back to visit them, and they've come to my home, and I've showed them around Texas. And I think that's one of the greatest things that we can do as American citizens is share with other people of other countries and understand their beliefs, their way of life, and ours as well. And I still think we have the greatest country and opportunity in the world.
Just like to extend, on behalf of the LCRA Board of Directors, a blessed, a glorious, and happy holiday season to everyone.
Each of us celebrates this time of the year differently. For me, this is my favorite time of the year. I absolutely love the time from Thanksgiving through Christmas. It's a time in which I can kick back and think about what I've done well this year and think about what I haven't gotten done. It's also a time in which I think about my family and how much I have to be thankful for. For others, this is a rough time of the year, and they don't handle it quite the same way. And that all points out the uniqueness of this time of the year and our uniquenesses as individuals. And we all celebrate our own God and our own Spirit in our own way, and we celebrate this time of the year in our own way. Having said all of that, we wrap up a really good year here at the LCRA, and I hope this time of year finds you in good health and in good cheer, and thankful of the many blessings that we all have.
Well, it is that time of year, and around LCRA that means lots of folks getting together to have a good time. None of them more important than this one right here in the LCRA boardroom. This is a taste for the holidays. Lots of folks coming in today to buy their baked goods and do a little shopping. All of the money generated today going to a good cause. Carmen Vasquez, right over here, is the coordinator of today's event. And Carmen, tell us, it's a great thing here. Everybody's having a good time. Tell us a little bit about what the purpose of the Taste of the Holidays is all about.
All right. Well, we started this about 5 years ago, and we raise all the funds we raise here are used in our service area. We sponsor senior days at some of the small communities where we buy their lunches and bingo prizes and things. We buy bathing suits for the children who go to the Salvation Army summer camp, things like that. I mean, we have got great displays. We've got Santa Claus. We have the adopted schools.
Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick.
So it's also a time that you just come and you have a good time and you see how creative your coworkers are. That's what I like in particular.
What are some of the items that we have here today?
Oh boy, we have all sorts of ornaments for Christmas trees. We have glass hand-blown ornaments. We've got sewn ornaments. We have sewing baskets. We have wrapping paper, greeting cards that are handmade, dolls. I do a lot of bunnies. I'm known for my bunnies. just tons and tons of things besides all the great baked goods.
I'm proud to be here. I'm proud of all the employees and everything that they've done to make this community effort.
When I became a board member at LCRA, I was immediately impressed with the amount of giving that this entire staff does in all the communities in our service area as well as in Austin. And it started noticing on so many fundraisers or on so many different programs here in Austin, there'd be LCRA staff. And it wasn't always just the corporate LCRA gifts, it's the real volunteers and people here at LCRA who go out and do the work.
It's really amazing to have this many people and this level of commitment to all our communities and our service area, and it's something I really value.
Well, one of the booths here at the Taste for the Holidays is a booth about diversity. You can see they have all kinds of different artifacts from different cultures all over the world. And that got us thinking about diversity issues. So we sent our cameras throughout LCRA and we asked people about the different ways they celebrate this time of year.
Hi, I'm Shams Siddiqui. I'm a resource manager with the Fuels and Risk Management Group. I'm a Muslim, and in this holiday season, we have the month of Ramadan coming up. It starts December 19th, and basically we fast from dawn till dusk. It's meant to, the month of Ramadan is meant to increase our self-restraint as well as our awareness of God. At the end of the month, we have a celebration called Eid. It's very similar to your Christmas, where we exchange gifts and the community gets together in a large gathering. I just wanted to wish you all Eid Mubarak and a Merry Christmas.
My name is David Chan. I'm the Corporate Industrial Hygiene Safety Program Leader. I celebrate the holiday very much like everybody else here in Texas. We have a family gathering, and we go to church, and we go, have parties with friends, and we exchange gifts. But since I came from Hong Kong 20-somewhat years ago, I still remember how they celebrate in Hong Kong or mainland China. Most part of Hong Kong still westernized, and they have very much similar celebration during Christmas time. And the only difference maybe they even bring out the fireworks in Christmas time. Back in China, in Hong Kong also, that they celebrate the Chinese New Year, usually happens at the end of January or the first part of February. And during the Chinese New Year, we have gift giving, and we have lots of banquets, and we have celebration with the parade, with the dragon dance, lion dance, and also give lucky monies to the children. I wish everybody at LCRA and their family a happy and safe holiday season.
Hi, my name is Timber Hardy. I work in Employee Services. I celebrate Christmas because it's so special to me. It's a time for getting together with my family, friends, and community leaders. In addition to me and my family getting together, we celebrate Kwanzaa at our church. It celebrates families, community, and culture. It's also to pull together African tradition with Afro-Americans so that we could get to know our heritage. Kwanzaa, what I do is get together with our church members, and we usually have a feast, and we celebrate and exchange gifts, and we usually have a little bit of poetry reading and dance, and we just have fun. It's just a festive occasion. Happy holidays to all, and happy Kwanzaa.
Hi, my name is Robert Cullick. I'm Manager of Communication Strategy here at the LCRA. Every December, my family being Jewish, we celebrate Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a celebration of victory and of spirit and of rededication. And we call the Festival of Lights. Every night during the 8 nights of Hanukkah, the family gathers around and lights a new candle on the menorah, like you see behind me. And we trade gifts, and we sing songs, and we eat special foods, especially potato pancakes. And it's a great holiday, and it's a great spirit of getting together and enjoying. We also meet with neighbors and friends and have parties. I guess one of our family traditions is that over the years we've gathered a number of menorahs, some handed down from family members and grandparents. So we have 7 or 8 of these, and by the 8th day of the holiday, when each one has 9 candles, and we have 7 or 8 menorahs going, it really gives off a glorious light. And we gather around the menorahs and we sing songs and trade presents and really just enjoy the family. And I think that's what's universal to all of the holidays that take place in December. It's really a time of spirit, of rededication, and a time of family. And so I guess from my family at home to my family at the LCRA, I wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and have a great holiday season.
In the December edition of the LCRA News, read about the overhaul of the hydro units at Buchanan Dam and the big water wheels that create the power. And read about LCRA employees who came to the aid of victims of the recent floods. And the December News also contains a complete guide to McKinney roofs.
Part of that advance warning could have come in the form of a new statewide system. As it stands today, there are only a handful of weather monitoring stations across the state. Once the new system is in place, those stations would cover Texas. KV24 Shelley Fisher joins us now. What can the weather monitoring station do for me, Shelley?
Well, Walt, it could provide the most accurate weather forecast the state of Texas has ever seen. The best part, it would only cost you pennies on your electric bill every month. Here's why. See these transformers that are behind me? They're all across the state already. The idea is to put the weather monitoring station right there next to them. These transformers are established, they're being watched. The weather monitoring station would become part of that package. You've heard it before. If you don't like the weather in Texas, give it a minute. It'll change. But some weather watchers say it's those changes we're just not prepared for.
A lot of folks just aren't aware that we don't have an adequate monitoring system in this state.
You're looking at what we do have. This is a weather monitoring station at Robert Miller Airport. It tells wind speed and direction and measures rainfall. There are about 20 of these in the entire state. The idea is to put them in every county. The entire system would be called Mesonet.
We have adequate information in Texas, but something like this Mesonet that's being proposed would take us from just adequate to excellent information.
Right now, meteorologists rely on high-tech equipment like Doppler radar, but Doppler only estimates the amount of rainfall. Looking back on our recent floods, some say the Mesonet system would have worked better.
If we'd had this system in place, we would have gotten actual rain gauge readings from all over the state, and that could have helped get the warnings out sooner.
It would also help with farming. Knowing a hard rain is coming can change planting, fertilizing, or harvesting schedules. Predicting a heat wave can help electric companies better prepare for peak usage days. Planning early can cut costs to consumers. The LCRA would actually be the ones installing the weather monitoring stations, and then the electric companies across the states would be the ones doing the upkeep. They could get approval as soon as 1999, and we could see these monitoring stations by the year 2003.
Not far off. And I'm wondering if this system could replace our human weather watchers.
I think this would be a tremendous advantage, but you can never, beat a good pair of eyes, especially when it comes to weather monitoring. Automated equipment can't, track tornadoes or tell you how large the hailstones are. That's always going to be important. But systems like this are doing some incredible things in Oklahoma and Colorado, and it would be a tremendous advantage, I think, to forecasting in Texas to have one here.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. From all of us at Arrowhead Film and Video, we hope you have a wonderful holiday season.